Yo, welcome back to my channel. Listen, as always, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you're back. Listen, please be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and please be sure to hit that bell notification so that way you can be notified anytime I upload. Before we get into today's topic, listen, you need to be following me on IG and you need to be following me on TikTok. I do a whole lot of lifestyle content. You know, I post singing covers, you know, travel content, and all other kind of stuff, music reviews. Listen, you need to be following me on IG. You need to be following me on TikTok. You can follow me, you can reach out to me, you can DM me, you can ask me to talk about a certain topic, or you can just hang out and talk to me. I don't know. But yeah, go follow me like right now. Go follow me like right now. As you can tell by the title, I am going to be talking about loneliness and I am going to be talking about attraction. Let's get into it. I have been avoiding this video for quite a while, for quite some time now. I've been avoiding this video for a while. I've been wanting to do this like since earlier this year. And really part of the reason was because I wasn't, sure about, how it would be received, from people that just cannot relate. Anytime you talk about something that, other people or certain people just cannot relate to, it's sometimes the reward is just not all that great. And so I kind of avoided the subject. I kind of avoided the topic. And it wasn't until I came across an article from gospel singer Jonathan McReynolds. And if you don't know who Jonathan McReynolds is, he is a contemporary gospel artist that is just amazing. Like, I love his music. Like, he has won so many awards. He is just amazing. Recently, I came across an article that he did where he was opening up about loneliness. And he was just talking about, how he deals with loneliness as a single guy. And I think he's either like a couple years or a year or two older than I am, or a year or a couple years younger than I am, or older than I am. Like, he's right around my age. But anyway, he was opening up about how he deals with loneliness as he is, kind of navigating this whole, dating market and whole dating age or whatever. And so it kind of shocked me. When I saw the article, I was like, wow. I was like, okay, I definitely have to talk about this. And the reason why it shocked me is, number one, he's a male. And I just think in society, especially on, in these male spaces like online, a man just opening up about loneliness and about his desire to want a relationship and to find love, I just think these days is not positively received. It's really not positively received because I think a lot of times, people take it as a sign of weakness. I won't say the content creator's name because I actually rock with some of his content, but there was a content creator that I was watching. He had put out a video recently where he was just talking about, loneliness in men. And in the video, he was just, telling men, like, if you're lonely, it's a sign of weakness. And then, and if you're lonely, it's a sign that you're not focused. And so I kind of left a long, comment, just thanking him for the video, but also just kind of going against that logic and kind of going against that way of thinking and just loneliness in general. Less loneliness in general. I think that when it comes to just people in general, expressing how, they are lonely and how they want a relationship, I just don't think it's positively received. Last year I did a video and I still think it is one of my most underrated videos to this day. So I did a video last year talking about, it's entitled Stop Blaming Single People. And I think a lot of times, what happens is that when somebody express like that they are maybe lonely or that they want a relationship, it's always, the blame is always put back on the person. Like, well, you're single because of this, and you're single because of that. And let's not talk about the prerequisites. Like, let's not talk about the prerequisites. Like, before you single, you gotta love yourself. And you're like, oh, okay. Before you single, you gotta have a job. And you're like, oh, okay. Before you single, you need to have an income. Before you single, you need a car. And another thing that was interesting about this Jonathan McReynolds, article was just the fact that, to one's eye, Jonathan McReynolds, he has all of that. Like, he's established. One would say that he's established. He has won many awards. I'm pretty sure, with him, being a man of God, and I don't want to assume, but I'm pretty sure just by how he operates, he has done the spiritual and the emotional work on himself, but he's still lonely. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, so what do you say to somebody like that? And so in the video, when I talk about stop blaming single people, I actually talk about that. I actually talk about I do believe because I think one of the big things is that when somebody says that they are, they are single or they are lonely, it's always like a go do something, go focus and go, it's because you don't love yourself, or it's because, and it's just like, I'm talking to the people, to the ones that I'm talking about, the ones of us that have actually done the work. Like, we've been to therapy, we have a job, we pay our car out on time, we got an income, like, we're emotionally whole, but it's just like we still are, desiring the companionship of the opposite sex. So it's like, what do you say to us? And I just feel like nobody really talks about the guilt of loneliness or the guilt of wanting somebody in your life. Like, nobody talks about that, because I feel like there's this unspoken rule that, like, I can't just happily express my desire to want somebody in my life, because I have to always feel like I'm made to feel like, are you on focus? And I think a lot of times that when you do express that desire of wanting somebody in your life, you're always either met with guilt, or you're always met with, condemnation. Like, well, it's because you don't love yourself. It's because you're unfocused, or it's because it's something you ain't doing in your life, And it's just like, sometimes that's just not it at all. And in the spirit of transparency, because y'all know over here we're all about FTP, we're all about faith, transparency, and positivity. In the spirit of transparency, it wasn't until this year. It wasn't until this year that I began to become more and more, guilt-free about just opening up and saying, hey, like, I desire somebody in my life. I have dealt with extreme loneliness this year. Like, I have dealt with loneliness pretty much every other day this year. Like, I'm so serious. I was talking to my therapist about this, and I was just expressing to him, I was like, man, I just feel lonely. Like, I really want somebody in my life. I'm ready for a relationship. I'm ready for love. I'm ready to meet somebody. And my therapist, he's always like encouraging me to, try new things, to go out by myself, to go to different events, and to ask, somebody out. And he's always encouraged me to do so. But this particular time, he was just like, he was getting into that speech where a lot of people do, where you talk about, oh, I really want somebody in my life. And they start telling you how just horrible having somebody is, and how horrible marriage is, how horrible it is to have somebody to wake up to every morning, how horrible it is to have somebody to, go have dinner with, because my therapist, he just went through a divorce. And so my therapist was like, well, marriage is, are you ready for marriage? Marriage is, marriage is tough work, and marriage is, and I literally said to my therapist, I was just like, at this point in my life, as crazy as it sounds, like, I just want companionship. Like, I'm not even talking about marriage tomorrow. Like, at this point, I just want somebody to go get some ice cream with. I just want somebody, to be in my life to the point where I just want the ministry of presence. Like, I want somebody to go get some dinner with. Like, I want somebody to, to pick me up from the airport, to go on trips with, or whatever. I don't know. But I was just telling my therapist, I was just like, I don't even think it's for me, it's like, oh, I just want to get married tomorrow. I think it's more so of, I just want somebody here, I just want somebody here. I want somebody to share intimate moments with, One thing that people know about me is that I've always been the type of person that if there is something that I want to do, I will go and do it, especially when it comes to traveling, especially when it comes to like live concerts and live music. Like, I've always been the type of person that if it's somebody that's having a concert, like, I'll book a flight in a minute. Like, earlier this year, I literally, saw that John Legend. Y'all, if anybody knows me, know I love John Legend and PJ Morton. They're like my two top favorite artists. Earlier this year, John Legend was in Vegas. He had a residency in Vegas. And I didn't have nobody to go for that. And I literally hopped on a plane, booked my ticket, and went to Vegas by myself. And I went to the concert by myself. Had a good time in Vegas. And then shortly after that, I came home a few weeks later, and PJ Morton was in New York City. And I booked a flight, booked a hotel, and went to the PJ Morton concert at the iconic, Apollo Theater. Like, I think it was like 2017. At the time, I was like obsessed with the show Sweetie Pie's Restaurant. I remember back in 2017, like, I really wanted to try the restaurant. And I remember like posting on Facebook, like, somebody go to the restaurant with me. Somebody go to Sweetie Pie's with me in St. Louis. Somebody go to Sweetie. And like, nobody would respond. Like, nobody would go with me. And I remember just like one day I just up and booked a ticket. Like, I up and booked a flight. Went to St. Louis by myself just to try that restaurant for like 3 days or something like that. And it's so funny because I remember getting there and like people at the hotel was like, why are you here? And I'm like, oh, I'm here to try the restaurant. They like, you came all the way from Ohio to try the Sweetie Pie's restaurant? And I was like, yeah. And my Uber driver said the same thing. And the lady at the hotel desk, I never get that. Even last year for my birthday, there was like the National Museum of African American Music. It had finally opened in Nashville. And for my birthday, I booked a flight, went to there. I'm the same way like with restaurants in my city. I've always been the type of person that I will, if it's a movie that I want to go see, or if it's a something that I want to do, I will go and do it by myself gladly. And it's funny because I was talking to one of my friends, him and his wife, they recently kind of just got married. And so him and his wife, they've been married, shortly for some time now. And so, I mean, they be everywhere. They be in Nashville all the time. I think they were in like the Dominican Republic or something like that. And my friend said to me, he was like, man, if I was single, I'd be doing what you doing. I'd be traveling. I'd be, taking solo trips. I mean, you'd be everywhere. That's what I'd be doing. And I said to him something that I haven't said to really anybody else other than you guys. But I told him, I was just like, bro, I don't enjoy it as much. I was just like, I'm kind of at that age, at 32 where I'm ready to have somebody to enjoy that with. I was just like, I don't enjoy it as much. I don't enjoy it as much by myself anymore. Like, and it's so funny because even my birthday is coming up. My birthday is Valentine's Day, February 14th. And I was, booking a trip to somewhere that I think I'm going. And I was just, every year I go through this thing of like, what's going to happen on my birthday? Am I going to be with somebody for Valentine's Day? Or it's just going to be my birthday? Am I going to, and it's funny because I go through this thing every year where it's like, I want to go on a trip, but I don't know who I'm going to be with at the time and end up with nobody. One thing that I'm learning, and that one thing that this year has taught me about loneliness, and I do want to make sure I say this, is that not everybody will understand. Not everybody can relate. Not everybody can relate to having weekends where you wish you had somebody to step out with. Like, not everybody, can relate. It's so funny because I was talking to one of my friends earlier this year, and I was just like, man, I'm just ready to have I'm ready to meet somebody. I'm ready to have somebody in my life. And he was just like, man, don't worry about that, man. Just, and then he changed the subject. We started talking about something else. And that same friend, like later on, like, a few weeks later, we were talking, and he was like, yeah, man, life is good right now. Me and my girl, we just came back from Costa Rica, and she about to move in. And I'm like, nice. and I'm happy for my friend, I am. But it's just like, I can't relate to that. I don't even know what that feel like. And here's the thing for me, even when my friend was like, oh, don't worry about it. Like, I think there's a difference between being in your early 20s and, wanting a relationship. And of course, I think it is very fitting to tell somebody in your early 20s, hey, focus on yourself. Hey, there's more to life than, being cuffed and being booed up and all that stuff. And even so, I think it's the same thing for somebody who just got out of a relationship or just came through a divorce. Of course, I do believe there are moments where you do want to shut down and focus on yourself. You do want to progress in, certain areas before you go on to, the next relationship. But I'm sorry, for somebody like me that's 32, I have been single going on 9 years. The last thing I want to hear is, oh, chill out, focus on yourself, don't worry about that. Like, don't worry about that. And so that's who I wanted to talk to today, to my people who have been single for like a long time, where you feel like, yo, like, is somebody coming? Like, am I gonna find her? Like, is he coming through, but like what? Like, that's where I wanted to make this video today, like to my people who you have been single for years and you just feel like I have been focusing on myself. I have been doing the work, but it's just like, I'm not having success. Like, but it's just like, what is going on? With that being said, it just brought me back around to this whole thought I had around what I call constant attraction. And it just brought me back around to the thought I had around just attraction in general. And why I believe it seems that some of us, we just do not have the ability to attract newness, like to attract new people in our lives. And I'm saying that's the way it seems. I have been trying to explain this to my friends for the past 2 years, and they just did not understand. Like, they just was not getting it. They just was not understanding. And it wasn't until I had came across one of my favorite content creators, Steph Goes. It wasn't until I came across one of her videos. And let me just say, when it comes to just explaining and articulating one's feelings and one's experience as it relates to singleness, like, oh, Steph Cole just gets it. Like, man, listen, whether you're a male, a woman, whatever, like, she just gets it hands down. So she had this video it was a vlog that she had did back in like the summer, where she was talking about people who just have the ability to just constantly attract. And when she said it, I was like, yo, I have been trying to explain that to my friends for the past 2 years. Like, I really do believe there are people that can just, I'm talking about those people who just have the ability to just constantly attract relationship after relationship, person after person, like new person after new person. And when I say attraction, I'm not talking about physical attraction. And I'm not talking about like one night stands, because I do believe that, you know, we've all, you know, probably have had our fun. Like, we have all had certain experiences. But I'm talking about those people who's able to attract person after person, like relationship after relationship, like somebody new after somebody new. And so when old Steph Cole was saying that, it was just like, yo, because it reminded me of one of my friends. It reminded me of one of my friends who, he's a close friend. He lives in Chicago. And ever since I remember, this dude he just always had the ability to attract a new relationship. And again, I'm not talking about like sex and one night stands and all that. I mean, like he just always had the ability to attract somebody new. And it's funny because, you know, back during the pandemic, he had a birthday party in Chicago. And so I went to his birthday party, and it was some girl, whoever the girl was there, she was just, you know, following him around everywhere. And so he, you know, introduced us. And so I asked him, I said, you know, how did you meet this? Like, where'd you meet this girl? Like, who is she? And he was like, oh, you know, just somebody we met on Tinder, you know, whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, nice. And so, you know, after the party, I go home, and a few weeks later, you know, we catch up, and I was like, so, you know, how's it going with you and so-and-so? He was like, oh, that was nothing. Oh, you know, we just went our separate ways. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then shortly after that, I remember he had got with this, he had got with this girl, and they were in a relationship like during the pandemic for a while. And I remember they were together like for a long time. And I remember like after they had broken up, he had called me, and he was like, yeah, man, it's crazy, you know. Yeah, we broke up. It's, you know, and I'm a little bit sad, and it's crazy, dude. But I'm not even worried, because I got a lunch date with this hot chick on Tuesday. Man, she fine. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna send you a picture. And I'm like, and I remember just getting weak, and I remember laughing, and me and him was talking about this, because I just would never forget that. And I was thinking, like, that don't happen for me. Like that don't happen for me. Like, if I mess up with a girl, or if something don't go right with a girl that I'm talking to, or a girl that I'm involved with, like, ain't nobody gonna be at the gas station 3 days later, you know, that's waiting to introduce himself to me. Like, I ain't about to meet a girl at the local Target that's in aisle B6 talking about, do you know where the peanut butter is? Do you know where they sell shirts? Like, that ain't happening for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not about to meet somebody 4 days later at the church somebody who just joined, and all of a sudden, you know, I done moved on. And I was telling him, I was just like, that just don't happen for me. Like, and I do believe there are people that just have these experiences where they can just meet person after person. Like, and if this person, if it don't work out with this person, that's all right. Because 2 months later, they're gonna be in a relationship with somebody else. And if that don't work out, you know, 2 weeks later, they're gonna meet somebody else. And I'm talking about those people that just constantly meet people. Because I'd be like, where y'all find these people at? Like, those people who can just attract out of nowhere. They can just constantly attract. And again, I'm not talking about sexually, but those people who can just constantly attract those relationships. Because it brought me back to this year. Like, I was looking at this year, and it was just like, for me, it was just like, do I not have the ability to attract somebody new in my life? You know? And I was thinking, like, a whole 365 days, well, not yet, has went past, and I wasn't able to attract somebody new in my life. And of course, I started going through this year, every, you know, encounter, every talking stage, every almost situationship or whatever that I've encountered this year with different women. And I was just going through them, and I'm like, none of them stuck. Like, none of them stuck. Like, none of them made it past the phase where we were just, you know, together, or where we were, more than just, an idea. I don't know. And it made me think about, if you recall earlier this year, I did a story time where I was talking about rejection, and I was just saying how, a lot of times rejection will happen. And in that story time, I talked about how I was out at this, this little bar that turns into like a club situation in my city. And there was a girl who was, across the way, who was eyeing me, and I walked up to her. Yada, yada, yada. We had exchanged numbers. We got into a conversation. We exchanged numbers. And I had, text her, and she didn't text back. And I was just talking about rejection. And that was just one of the many instances this year. And in that story time, I kind of actually was holding back. But I didn't really express, like, I remember texting that girl twice. Like, I text her like that Monday. I text her like at the beginning of the week, and I text her midweek. And I really didn't express in that story time, like, I kind of downplayed it. But I remember just being at my desk, and I was just in my feelings for like 3 days straight. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I was in my feelings for 3 days straight. And it wasn't even her, because I didn't even know her. I didn't know two things about her. But it was just the thought of, like, it's happening again. Here we go. It's happening again. Like, it's happening again. Like, I do not have the ability to attract somebody new in my life that would stay for even a short time. Like, it's happening again. And so then my mind started going through all of these other, encounters that I had, with different women that I encountered this year, where it just was not successful. And, it was a story time I did on here where I talked about a girl that I met at this jazz bar in my city. And the girl was just a mess. Like, and there was another girl I met on Hinge. Like, we were getting somewhere. All of a sudden, she just went left. And there was another girl that I had met in my Uber ride. Like, the girl wanted my number so bad. Text her, didn't hear from her. Like, we didn't get far. And it was just always, I was going through these experiences in my mind, and it was just like I was not able to attract not even one person in my life that wanted to stay around, that wanted to stick. Meanwhile, there were people in my life that was just constantly calling in new people. And I don't know, but it just kind of makes you wonder, and not even just talking about the ability to just attract anybody, but I'm talking about even just the ability to attract somebody that you are attracted to, like even physical attraction, like physically attracted somebody that where they're attracted to you and you are attracted to them. And it just reminded me of when I was in New York, when I came back from New York, this jazz bar club or whatever in my city, they have like live music, they have like live artists. And so it was a live band that were there. And that Saturday, because I think I got back in town that Saturday, they was doing this Usher tribute. Listen, I love Usher. Like, I really do. Like, it's funny because Usher and Giveon, I don't even know how to say his name, Giveon or Giveon, whoever. But Usher and Giveon, those are the two people that are on my list to see live in 2023. Like, I really want to see them live. And it's funny because I had just missed Giveon in Chicago, and I definitely would have went in October. But anyway, I love Usher. So they were having this Usher tribute, and I literally got in town from New York, and I think I landed at about 6. The concert started at like 8 or something like that. And I remember like my sister picking me up from the airport, and I like got in here, threw my bags down, got in the shower, got clean, got fresh, and went straight down to the venue and was just so ready for this Usher tribute. And I remember that night because I was just feeling good. I'm like, I just came back from New York. And I remember that night because it wasn't even about like, I got to go out tonight and find me one. It was just like, I just want to go out and enjoy, good music. And I remember that night I get there, and one of the girls that I knew at the venue, she had like told me to come up to the front where the live music was. And she was like, it's an open seats. So I'm there, like having a time, doing what I do, what I'm saying, drinking my hair, what I'm saying. So I'm just enjoying the live music. I'm enjoying like the Usher songs, the nostalgia, like just, just the vibes. And I remember it was these 3 women, these 3 girls had came to sit in the section. And it was like, there were 3 over like across from me, and it was me, and then it was a seat next to me, and I'm just like vibing. I'm just at this point, I'm not even thinking about nobody. I'm just vibing, like looking up at the live music. And it was 2 girls that was with them, and I remember 2 of them just being fine, just being gorgeous, and this wasn't about that this night. This was just about the music. And so, but their friend, it was one girl that was with them. And I'm not gonna say, oh, like she was ugly. I just wasn't attracted to her. But it was just one of the girls, I just wasn't attracted to her. And she had came over to me like while I was, because I was, just kind of like turned up. And she was like, is somebody sitting next to you? And I was like, no, that's just, seat is yours. So it was just like I was, vibing to the music. And every now and then she would turn to me and say something. And I would, kind of respond. But I kind of wasn't really initiating. Like I was nice. I was very nice. But I really wasn't initiating much with her. That night was so live. Like that night was such a good time. But as I was looking at the two girls, I could see the two girls say to her, like, talk to him, like say something to him. And I remember just being like, oh, this is what this is. So I was just like, ah. So anyway, after the live show ended and after the band was, was breaking everything down, she, tried to start, they put the house music on, like, or the DJ or whatever. And I remember, like, she had, tried to start dancing on me. And she was like, what's your name? So I was like, I told her Mark or whatever. And I don't know what happened, but that girl turned around and it was my cue to go. Like, it was my cue to go. It was my cue to get out of there. Like I nicely and just quietly got up out of there because I was just like, no. And it just kind of made me think like, am I ever going to be able to attract somebody that I'm attracted to? Y'all know how I feel about physical attraction. I've talked about physical attraction on this channel so many times. I don't think it's the end all be all, but I do think being attracted to somebody is very important. Like in my opinion, I think interacting or entertaining somebody that you are not attracted to, in my opinion, I highly think that is a form of settling. And I think vice versa. I would not want somebody that I like to settle for me just because I'm a good person. No, like, that's just not it at all. I just don't advise that because I just don't advise it at all. Like, because I really feel like we always talk about matching energy and wanting somebody that is mutually interested in us. But listen, mutual interest involves mutual attraction. It involves mutual physical attraction. So a lot of times I think about that too. Like, man, like, and will I ever be able to attract, somebody that I'm attracted to and somebody that is attracted to me in that same way? So I don't know. So it just also made me think about this whole attraction thing. Earlier this year, back in September, my sister, she had turned 50. And she had like dinner at this like really nice restaurant. And so she had a dinner that was mainly geared towards the women in our family. And so all the women went and the men, we didn't go. But I had the duty of picking up the aunties, the aunties in our family. And they were all like, they're all like in their late 60s, early 70s. And so it was like 3 of them. So I'm picking them up one by one. And I'm picking them up one by one, taking them to the, venue. And so I get all 3 of them in the car and I got my little old school music playing. And so out of nowhere, one of my aunts was just like, she was like, I don't understand. Because one of my aunts, she's the only one that's on Facebook. The other 2, they don't do Facebook. But my aunt that's on Facebook, I think she's like 70 something. She was like, I just don't understand. You a God-fearing young man. You're handsome. You're always traveling. You're talented. You're a good guy. Why are you single? I remember dropping them off at the restaurant. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, I just remember replaying like her saying that in my mind. And I just remember thinking like, to be honest, I'm asking the same thing. So for all the people that's always like, well, it's about self-love and you single because you don't love yourself and you love yourself, love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. Like, for the ones of us who have been single for years, like I'm talking about a long time. As I said before, I've been single for 9 years. I think a lot of us, for the ones of us who have done the work, we know what it is to have that inner voice transition. And what I mean by that is because I have done the work and because I've went to therapy, I've done the work. I know what it feels like through the years to go from asking myself, like, who would want me? Like, who would want to deal with me? To asking myself, like, why wouldn't they? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I literally was talking to this girl on Hinge recently. And, she went left. And I'm literally thinking to myself, like, you are really dumb. Like, to mess it up with me, like, you dumb. Like, there's just no excuse. So I've seen myself, like, my inner voice go from that, why would somebody want me to why wouldn't they? Like, so So when people say, oh, you gotta love yourself, like, I think that when you have been single for that amount, a longer time, you know, God, whatever you call it, the universe, whatever you call it, I call it God, like, he confronts you to deal with that. And so now that you deal with it, it's just like, yo, am I ever going to attract that person that I just really want to be with, you know? I will wrap up this video by saying, if you are dealing with this, and if you feel like, you know, you are lonely a lot, and you are dealing with just feeling like, yo, it's been years since I've been single, like, I'm ready for somebody new. I didn't want to spend this video telling you, like, try this, and it's because of this, because I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to be there where you just like, man, you seeing your friends, you know, pop up with somebody new every other time. You seeing somebody that just got married. You seeing some, you know, this person, they on vacation. You like, man, when am I gonna have that? One thing I will say, I don't want to spend too much time of telling you to try this, try that, but one thing I will say is, of course, monitor your inner voice. Monitor your inner voice. Be careful what you're saying to yourself. Keep your thoughts up. Continue to talk to somebody. You know, continue to talk to somebody and find a way to continue to express those feelings of wanting love and those feelings of wanting, you know, somebody new. And another thing is, I also would say is continue to reconsider your strategy. Like for me, this year I have done well with getting out, you know, getting dressed, looking good, and going, you know, going to spots by myself. You know, I've done well with that, but maybe try a new spot. I don't know. Maybe try some, you know, somewhere else. You know, maybe give that dating app another try. Maybe, you know, like for me, I don't feel like I do well with the whole nightclub vibe. So maybe try a day party. I don't know. Try the new church down the street. Who knows? I don't know. But stay up and stay blessed. But yeah, I don't know. That was my video on loneliness and just talking about attraction. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, listen, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and to comment. Let me know your thoughts. Where are you? And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. And I will catch y'all in the next video. Peace.